Shalom, shalom. Greetings in the blessed name of our Messiah, Yeshua. We are so grateful once more for your support and your continuing really watching what the Father is doing through this ministry. And we are continuing our study on the principle of the kingdom. This is Rabbi Chiluba, a leader for House of Love in Zambia. I'm so grateful for all the support that we are receiving from you. Now, remember yesterday we were looking at the kingdom from the principle of Adam, or from the principle of creation. We've been trying to explain the kingdom right using the work of creation, trying to pick some ways of prophecy that will really help us to understand how the Master is going to establish the kingdom in the future. And according to Isaiah chapter 46 verse 10, we are told that he declares the end from the beginning, meaning that whatever was spoken in the beginning is literally explaining the end. So we are trying to use the beginning to explain the kingdom of the Most High Yah. So I believe from what we've done already, you've really been picking some pieces, exactly helping us to just pick some prophetic pictures and some prophetic word that points to the establishment of Yah's kingdom. We know that Yahweh Elohim is all essence right from the beginning was the building of the kingdom and or establishing of the kingdom. But he had chosen specifically that man will establish his kingdom, and that is what we are trying to really look at in trying to understand everything from the scripture. And remember in our previous study, which is yesterday, we looked at really the deep sleep of Adam when he slept, and how Eve was separated from Adam as coming from the weaker side of Adam as a rib. Also, that's what we were looking at yesterday. So I believe from there we'll try to pick a bit and try to bring out certain things that will help you understand also the kingdom. We are using this as a prophetic picture that will help you understand what the Father has been speaking right from the beginning, so that it may help you build a mindset of understanding the entire scriptures that will help you so much. So most of what we are trying to explain are very prophetic, but getting the prophecy right from the beginning and the revelation right from the beginning to help you understand the establishment of the Father's kingdom that is going to be established, because that's what is the central theme of the whole scripture. I believe with this you are able now to follow us. Now, yesterday I talked about how Yah said, "It is not good for man to be alone, but I shall make him a helper that is compatible unto him." And I believe we also talked about that principle as pointing to the principle of the expansion of the kingdom, that it will be imperative that the kingdom will start as a small thing, but it be expanded. But it's needed that Adam is not alone, because how can you expand, how can you multiply, how can you be fruitful if you're just alone? So you see, he said it's good for man, it's not good for man to be alone, but I'll make him a helper that is going to really be compatible to him, really to bring in the completeness of what is needed in order for the kingdom to expand. That's what we were saying last time, yesterday. So now, the other principle we're going to look at is the principle of a deep sleep. Now, in the scripture, a deep sleep is always a picture of death. Now, you need to understand that death it can be applied to an individual death, but also to the death of a kingdom, the dying of a kingdom, or the decline of a kingdom in the common words that are used. We say the rise and the decline, or the ascending and the descending of a kingdom. So when we see a picture of a sleep, of course it really portrays a picture of dying. So we are saying that the kingdom of man is caused to sleep. And this is very, very, very important to understand, because if we miss this concept, we are going to see a lot of things that are happening even in today's world, and do some correction that we move forward, even as nations, even as families, even as at individual levels. This is going to really to help us understand a lot of things. Now, when a kingdom or a person dies, okay, remember even when Lazarus in the book of Yohanan or John chapter 11 verse 25 says, Lazarus is not dead but is fast asleep. But a man was in the grave, but why are you saying he's just fast asleep? So in the biblical understanding, the picture of sleep is a picture of death. And you see this not only in Adam, but also you see it in Abraham also. There was a sleep. He slept in the vision in Genesis chapter 15. There was a deep sleep again on Abraham, our father. We see also a sleep in Jacob when he was coming from Beersheba going to Haran. We see him also sleeping. We see a lot of sleeping of the kingdom now. This is very, very, very important now to really understand that when we talk about death, mostly in the scriptures, it's not really applying to a personal death, but it's applying to a kingdom death, a nation dying. I will give another example maybe for you to really understand what he's talking about. There's a time when Moshe was called out of Egypt, and he came into the wilderness, and there he met the Most High Yah in the burning bush, and was given instructions. But Moshe's worry was that how are the people going to believe me? So the Most High says, I'll give you the signs that you should go and show to the chosen people, or the children of Israel. And he gave him 3 signs. The first sign was a staff. The second sign was about the hand repart. Then the third sign was water poured on the ground turning into blood. So these 3 signs were literally pointing to something that is meaning or bring an understanding of what will happen, or what has happened, or what happened to the children of Israel. When they were in the land, they were supposed to be loyal priesthood. They were supposed to be kings. Okay, that is symbolic of the staff. The staff always is a symbolic of rulership. It's the scepter or the staff. The one that carries that, automatically we understand is either is a shepherd or is a king. So the combination of a shepherd king, we see it also in David, was a shepherd king, and that is helping us to really get the understanding. Now, it's quite interesting that that staff was in the hands of Moshe, and it was dropped to the ground. And when it was dropped to the ground, you will see that the staff changed into the serpent, meaning that the Father was conveying what had happened to the children of Israel as a kingdom, as a nation, that when they were kicked out of the land, they went into the valley, they went down from the top, from the heavens, they went down into the valley, and there they lost their identity, and they assimilated into the Egyptian culture, or they took upon a serpentic image. Okay, that's what happened, meaning that they, according to what they had as a culture, they lost their culture, they lost their identity, they lost their names, everything was lost. So they borrowed that and began to live like the children in Egypt. They borrowed an Egyptian culture, Egyptian language, Egyptian garment, Egyptian calendar. Everything about them was now Egyptian. So in other words, the staff now has been turned into the serpent. That's what it really meant. Then that shows that the whole issue was about rulership again. The staff is kingship. The whole issue in the scripture is about a kingdom. So when he talks about that, you need to look at it critically. Maybe we will not just be talking about a physical, an individual death, but also is pointing to the death of this kingdom, how the kingdom is going to die. It's very, very, very important. So we're looking at the deep sleep of Adam. And in the deep sleep, you see that that's where now the division is taking place. That's where now the division between Adam and Ava is taking place. In the positive sense, from the retro creation, it really brings out the natural flow of now Adam or Eve coming from Adam. But from a prophetic picture, it brings a different meaning that will point to what will happen to the kingdom. That meaning that what will happen to the kingdom is that the kingdom will go through a deep sleep. Then in the deep sleep, the kingdom will divide. And from that division now you see a lot of things that begins the fall of the kingdom. That's what the Master was saying. With these few words, I believe you have gotten some few things, and the blessing of Yah is upon you, and we'll continue to just do this study to help you. In the blessed name of our Messiah, Yeshua, Shalom, Shalom.